Hey, 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 everyone. How you doing? Oh, that was a bit odd. Oh, what's that? Yeah, that's better. This is your girl, Yvonne Michelle, and we're going to be having a little conversation on the back of the After Dark show on Tuesday night. And I'm going to bring in one of our panel members who has been on the panel um, many, many times and also is a life coach. She's an empowerment coach as well. We're going to have a conversation, and we may have some other people jumping in as well in the discussion. So, without further ado, I'm just going to bring in my guest. Hey, Tisha.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm all right. Can you hear me? All right.
Yes, I can. Yep, perfect.
So, Tisha, what I want you to do now is to jump onto Instagram
Mm-hmm.
because I'm on Instagram as well,
Okay, yep.
right? And we're going to, hi guys, hello Instagram, hi Facebook. We're just going to be jumping on here and just having an open and candid conversation about rejection and how it affects us and what we are learning because we had a 2 hour show on Tuesday and we learned a lot. We had a great panel. We learned a lot of things. But I'm getting more and more messages throughout the week, and I thought we'd come on and have a conversation about it a bit more. Yes, I can see that you've joined. Wonderful, 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 Tisha. So, yeah, so we just wanted to have an open conversation and you know, those of you who want to get involved can get involved in the conversation. I think it would be interesting to find out what your thoughts and what your feelings are. I'm just going to share it because we are on my business page. So I'm just going to pop over. Whoops. Yeah, because I've just finished doing another show. Let me just share this. Yeah, let me just share it. Okay, lovely. Join the conversation. And that's what happens when you do something impromptu. Join the conversation about rejection. Oh, if I can spell it. There you go. Post. Wonderful. Okay, so we are now on all systems go. It's just okay. So Tisha,
Yeah.
as you know, we were on the show. We had the show on Tuesday about rejection, and it was from a viewpoint of relationships. How you feel, how we feel through relationships. But a lot of things came up when we were talking. A lot of um, other things came up in terms of how people were feeling. And even this morning, I had a conversation. I was called and I had the conversation. It hasn't come up for you to join me though on you on.
Oh, you want me to join on that on
Yeah,
Instagram as well?
yeah, so that they can get the both sides of us on
So
Instagram.
how will we because they're gonna hear me, aren't they? It's gonna be feedback from both
I think
things.
you turn the volume down. I think on one
Okay.
on the yeah. I've done it like this before. I'm sure I've done it. We'll give it a try.
All right then. Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Right. Okay. So we're trying to stream this on as many platforms as possible because what I know for sure is that suicide rates have gone up by two. Yeah, that suicide rates have gone up by 200%, and that is something that we need to address, that we need to be mindful of, right? That we've got people who are struggling, especially now in the right. So you need to turn me down one.
Take it down.
Right, how are we going? No,
I think have you done a live with someone else at the same time?
yeah, no, no. Okay, let's not do that then. I will just talk, but they should be able to hear you from Instagram. All right. Okay. There we go. Okay, guys, can you still hear me on Instagram? You can still hear me? Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Yes, 200% suicide rates have gone up. And so we want to really have a conversation about this, because we know that rejection is a very, very big subject. And we were dealing with it within relationship. And I had a conversation today, this morning after my morning inspiration show, and it was a lady that was saying that she has suffered from rejection and has felt suicidal, but not from a relationship. It was actually through her employment, and she felt that. And so, you know, I'm understanding that this subject is absolutely huge. And you know, we want to address it in little bite-sized chunks. Now,
it's a really interesting topic. I've got 2 stories about being rejected from a job, which really affected my actual whole career, actually, and also from a friend who passed away recently due to discovering rejection, and she committed suicide.
Wow. So we know that this is real, guys. We know that this is real. And so these are the things that we, you know, for me, we need to be talking about, because I believe that prevention is better than cure. And it's through our conversations that things create change. Through our conversations, we can create change in people's lives, and to let people know that they are not alone. And I think that is fundamentally one of the biggest things that we need to be aware of, is that we, no matter what situation that we're going through, we are not alone. All right. So you know, we talk as a group of women, and we've been looking at how relationships are. As single women, we run the show every week, every Tuesday at 10 a.m. We're on the show talking about relationships, all different types of subjects. But this week it was about rejection. And what we found, or what I found, is throughout the show there was the push to talk about certain subjects in it. So we thought today, I just thought, you know what, you know, after everything and what came to me, the message that came to me this morning before I did my show, which was a young lady who said that she had been watching the show and she'd been listening, and she had been with somebody for about 3.5 years and thought that the relationship was going really, really well. And then it just kind of fizzled out, and she was calling, he wasn't responding. She was responding, and this is from her perspective. So I know that it works both ways as well, right? But what happened is that it just fizzled out, and she never got the closure. And she was asking, well, how do you get over that? How do you move on? And from the panel members that we have, a very strong personality, men and women, and they were saying, well, they, you know, their rejection, they don't really see it as rejection. They've kind of managed their rejection, and they've kind of just moved on. But you can't.
Yeah, it's really interesting subject. I mean, I've dated a lot, as you well know, and I have faced a lot of rejection in relationships. Well, I thought there were relationships, let's say, and during the breakdown of the relationships, and I've experienced people just dropping me, leaving me, and not hearing anything. And then I would often complain to my girlfriends about what's happening, and try and really evaluate what the situation was, like trying to get into the man's head and things like that. And it would just lead to confusion. And of course, you want that that closure. Women, I feel that we really need that. We need to understand why it's happened, and when was the signs and things like that. But actually, as I've got older, and again through a really good friend of mine, she said that you'll never get closure. You never get the real answer. Then that's the thing. You're never going to get the real answer, because it could often be brutal. And I know for myself, if I have ended a relationship or something's gone wrong, I'm not necessarily going to tell the truth to save that person. To say that it could be something to do with myself, or it could be to do with them, but I'm not necessarily going to tell the truth of why it's broken down. And I don't expect now my partner to. So now I understand I'm not going to get real closure. I'm not going to get the answers that I want to hear. Yeah, I'm not going to get the answers that I want to hear.
Right.
Yeah. So now if the relationship breaks down, that's it. I'm not going to chase them and ask for answers and all of this, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Take the lesson from that relationship and move on. Take the lesson from the relationship, and move on. You're very rarely are you going to get the truth, which is going to help you to think it wasn't my fault or whatever. You're very rarely now going to get that closure that you want.
Right.
And at times it's probably going to be hard actually here if they actually do tell you the truth. So
I think what you're saying is valid, Tisha, in terms of you may never ever get the truth, and certainly in this instance, from this message that I received, it appears that the answers, the truth will never be said, because the person has completely shut down. Now, that's the person who, now for me, this is just me, I find that quite cruel. I do.
I do.
I think that if you are in a relationship, and now we're not talking about one night stands, I'm not talking about that kind of relationship. I'm talking about a relationship where you've had a period of time in a person's life where you have spoken together, you have done things together, you've gone out together, you slept together, you've eaten together, you've done things together, and so you get used to that person, and that person has become a part of your life for 3 months, 6 months, whatever, and you now feel connected. That connection is there. And so, what do you do when that person just simply just dismisses you? Because that's what it is. It's a dismiss. I'm dismissing you. I'm not talking to you. And so you're then the person that's left with the negative energy, with the baggage, with the feelings of being not enough, being of lack, not good, not good enough. What do I do? That confusion is there. It's clouding your mind. When you get up in the morning, it's the first thing that you think of. When you go to bed at night, it's the last thing you think of. And you're thinking, what did I do to deserve this? Because I thought it was good. And so, on the show, it was kind of like talking, and we've only got a limited period of time, and we try and keep it in one direction. But today I just thought, this is a person who is crying out for some kind of help, some kind of direction. She's saying, what do I do? Because I love this person and they will have nothing to do with me, and I just can't seem to move on. And so I thought, let's look at some strategies here. Let's put some things into place, bearing in mind that suicide rates have gone up by 200%. So this is the crux of this conversation. This is why we're having this conversation today, to help to take on board how people are feeling, because this is a new era that we're living in. We're living in the lockdown time. And so it's harder.
It's really hard now. My heart bleeds for that person. That is really shocking and terrible that someone can, as you said, dismiss and just move away from you like that without having a conversation. Or especially if you're in a long-term relationship, you would have thought if there's any issues in a relationship, that person should be able to come to you and talk to you about their feelings, their thoughts, and what's going on.
Absolutely. So
that's so surprising to hear that. Now I suppose with your client, your friend, I suppose you could unpick going back and seeing if there's any signs. But with regards to moving on, and this is what this session's about. With regards to moving on, I've had a client before, which is a male actually, and very much in love with his partner, very much in love with his partner. He actually thought, yes, she was the perfect partner for him. He envisioned marriage and things like that. And he just couldn't move on. He just couldn't move on. He thought this person was absolutely everything to him. And the conversation that we had, the coaching that we had, I helped him to unravel what does that perfect person look like to you? How do they treat you? How do they respect you and love you and treat you every day? During the sessions, what we discovered is that person, if that person was really their soulmate, their true person, they would never do that to them.
Right.
That they would never do that to them. So this helped him to heal, because he started to understand this person is not for him, because his true person, his true soulmate would never do anything to hurt him. So we kind of helped him to disconnect that vision of her being this, like, everything. We helped to disconnect that and realize there is another person out there who would treat him with the respect and the love he deserved. And that helped him to really start to heal and to move on. So I think that is a really powerful lesson, which I love to, I really wanted to tell your audience about. It is getting that idea of that person being perfect, and and then working on yourself. Again, Shaloni said about self-love. That is, it's very key. Self-worth and love. And the opposite of rejection is connection. Yeah. So first of all, work on connecting with yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. It is totally, but as coaches, we know this. We know that it's about connection and connecting with yourself, and actually the value that you put on yourself. But to those who don't, and those who are vulnerable, who are more vulnerable than most, then it's about us having that, taking them through those processes and actually teaching and walking through it, holding their hand to let them know, one, that they are not alone, and two, that it is achievable, that they can the same way that they were disconnected before they even knew the person is the same way that they can disconnect again from the person. So for those of you who are on I was going to say Facebook, those of you who are on Instagram, the conversation that we are having is about how you get over somebody who has rejected you. We run a program on Facebook on a Tuesday, and from that program, I've had so many messages on rejection that I thought it would be best to come on and just do a little side thing, just to have this conversation, because one of the things that I also recognize is that suicide rates are up by 200%. And we also had, I'm just going to be honest, and we also had somebody who disclosed about self-harm as well on the show. And so we're having to put things in place so that we can help those who are struggling on the show. And we're just here to help. We're just doing this thing. And so, because of that, it's really kind of having conversations with the women on the panel. It was something that I felt that I needed to come on and talk about, because of the feelings that many people are having right now in this lockdown time. We can't take this for granted. We can't just it's just something that happens. This is real. People are really struggling, really, really, really struggling, and want to have tools. They want to have the tips. So I'm having a conversation with Tisha Braid, who is an empowerment coach, who's also one of our panel members. And we are live on Facebook. We did try to connect the two, but it doesn't work. So if you are on Instagram and you are on Facebook at the same time, you want to be more engaged in the conversation, you do feel free to come over onto Facebook. But if not, you can stay here. I'm still going to be running the show here. So I'm just gonna Tony's just messaged. So Tony, I'm just gonna send you. I'm gonna put the link in the right now, right, so that you can come in on the Facebook. All right. So this is, you see, the thing is, when you're vulnerable, you're just vulnerable, and you know that thing of not knowing what to do, where to turn, and so let me just find Tony and let me just bring him in, because like Tony is also one of our panel members as well, and it's just an impromptu conversation. Why you're not coming? Oh, there you go, and he'll come in. There you go, Tony. I've just sent it to you. Come in on the Facebook. So, oh, is that you or me?
Oh, that's me. Yeah, sorry. Let me see if I can
right, I can hear. Fantastic. Everybody's saying they can hear.
Bless you. Bless you. You're gonna make me go.
Excuse me.
Oh, bless you.
Right, of all the times to start sneezing, it would happen now. Anyway, so we're going to carry on with this conversation. So the question that was asked is, how do you get over? How do you move on? Hi, Shalomi, how you doing? How do you? Hi, Veronica. Hi, Astrid. Hi, everybody that's listening. Hi, Yasin. Hi, Tony. Hi, Ali. Hi, everybody that's listening. How do you get over this? How do you move on? You know, what?
Yeah.
You know, how do you move on from these feelings, these emotions that are holding you back?
Yeah, I think the most important thing is to be kind to yourself and feel the emotions. Feel the emotions. So why, again, with clients, I ask them to journal them. When the emotions come up, journal them so you can understand, get it out of your head, because those thoughts and feelings running around your head can send you crazy. You asking yourself, oh, what did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? Why didn't he love me? All of this stuff. Yeah, feel it, because feel it, feel the emotion and get it out of your head. So journaling is a great way of doing that. And be kind to yourself. Don't suppress yourself. It's the same way as grieving. It's the same thing again that I experienced. You're grieving for the loss of that partner. It is grieving, especially when it's out of the blue.
Definitely, because you don't. This is key. This is a key point in terms of bereavement. When a partner dies, especially if it's suddenly, you don't have the chance to say goodbye.
Yeah.
You don't have a conversation again. That person's gone. But sometimes it's easier to understand that because the person has departed. When the person hasn't and they just left you, that's another thing, But I think that you're right in saying it is a grievance. It is something that, you know, you have to allow yourself to grieve. But just going back to the journaling thing, let me just clear up why it's important, and then we'll bring Tony in after that. Journaling is important. Like Tisha says, you are getting that message out of your head. Now, if you look at the size of your head in comparison to your body, it's small, right? And all of those thoughts, those feelings, those emotions are all locked up here in a very small space. Now, the brain is the brain, and it's got different quadrants. It's got different things that do different things for you and help you to do. But once it becomes cloudy, it affects everything. It affects everything that you do. So even the way you see things, the way you hear things, the way you taste things changes when you are in that mode of grief. So by journaling, you're literally taking those thoughts out of this small space and giving it room to breathe. That's what you're doing. You're actually giving it room to breathe, where you can look at it from an objective position.
Yeah.
And this is really important. And one of the things that I say to my clients is this, is if you look at a situation where you are, you will only see it from that dimension. But if you take yourself higher and then you look down at the same place, the same spot, it changes the perspective of how you see the picture. The picture's exactly the same, but your perspective changes. So this is the importance of journaling. You're taking that information, you're taking the hurt, you're taking the pain out of this small space, and you're giving it room to breathe in the open air. And then when you have it openly now, you can look at it from an objective position. I'm just going to bring Tony in.
So,
hello, Tony. How are you?
Hi. Oh, it's on mute.
You're on mute.
Hiya.
You good?
I'm good, thanks.
Thanks for joining. Very impromptu, but based upon lots of conversations after the show on Tuesday, and getting a lot of people sending messages. One in particular this morning of a young lady who's really struggling with rejection because she wasn't able to have any closure because the young man refuses to talk to her. Relationship 3.5 years. She thought it was going well, and he's just completely shut down, will not speak to her. And she's like, you know, she doesn't know how to move on. And from the panel, because we've got quite a strong panel on Tuesday, from the panel members, they were like, well, you know, we just managed to move on, and you know, you've got to leave it behind, and blah blah blah. So she's asking, well, how do I now move on? How do I get closure? And it's affecting, and it is having an effect on her mental health. It is. And so I thought, I've sent her some stuff, and I did say that I'd be going on today because I realised that a lot of people are struggling, and I also know that suicide rates have gone up by 200% in this lockdown period. And so it's a real thing. It's a real concern. So this is why we're here. And as I saw you on Instagram, I thought, come on over. So thank you for jumping on. But as you can hear, me and Tisha were just discussing, you know, and trying to help people to put it into perspective of where they are in their mind in terms of.
Yeah, I think another thing about journaling as well is to get that information out of your head, because when you're grieving or when you're going through things, sleep comes into play, lack of sleep. So by journaling, getting it out even before bed is a good way of doing it. Getting it out, it will allow you to sleep and rest and heal your body, because crying and all of that stress is a lot on your body. So again, when we talk about mental health, sleep deprivation is a major cause of triggering that. So that's another reason to journal. Yeah.
Tony, do you want to come in?
Well, being a mentor, I mean, that's really how I see a lot of people addressing issues of mental health. I mean, I work with children. A lot of them have got behavioural issues, have got issues of ASD or ADHD. You know, I can't stress how important it is to have mentors in your life, people who you can draw upon for strength and advice. You know, people who've been through experiences that you may not have been through and can guide you through those as you come across them in life, whether that be in business, education, work, you know, life, friendship, whatever. So, you know, the value of having a mentor and even multiple mentors. For me, I have multiple mentors. I have business mentors, I have life mentors, and they can all give me different guidance to how to address certain situations as they come up in life. So, you know, I think it's always important that when people are going through situations that you're given options of where can you go for help, because it's always important that, you know, if you do have any kind of mental issues, mental health issues, that you get the opportunity to talk about them. You know, one of my good friends is a guy called Leon McKenzie. He has a a great charity that deals with mental health and depression, and the tagline is "Fight It," and the acronym for "Fight" is "Fight It, Get Help, Talk." You know, and the talk for me is the one. You know, if you can talk about a particular situation, quite often that allows you to de-escalate and calm yourself down, and then take on board some new enlightenment. And one of the things that I always work with people when it comes to overcoming issues is to work on little wins. You know, if it's something, you know, small, go get your hair done, get your nails done, you know, just find a way to get a win. You know, any day, every day you should have a win. You know, even if you're having the worst day, you should always have a win, something that allows you to say, yeah, that good happened to me.
I think, thank you for that. Yeah, I agree. I think, you know, talking therapies for me are one of the most powerful therapies that we have. Just giving people the ability and the opportunity to just talk their truth without any judgment, anything. You know, they can say what they like, and I think this is why counselling, coaching, those kinds of things are so important. I think that it's really, really, it's not everything is going to work for every person. Let me unpick that. So whereas some people talking therapies might work, another set of people journaling might work. I think you have to try and error it and try and work what works for you as an individual. And you know, one of the things that we have in our minds is an inner critic that talk, that self-talk that talks us down, and we all have it, but some of us have the ability to be in control of that. And I think this is where the mental health really starts to kick in. If you have the ability to shut that voice down and know that that voice that you're hearing is your own voice, but it's telling you that you're not good enough. It's telling you it's your fault. It's telling you highly foolish. It doesn't actually. It's not actually real. And in the case of this young lady, I don't think she's at that space where she's suicidal, but she's at a place where she's tormented, and it's like, what did I do? What did I do? What did I do? Because she's still in love with this person. She's still in love with this person. One of the things I've encouraged her to do is to take control, to take back the control that she handed in his lap.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, what do you mean? Well, you gave your emotions, your feelings to this person and thought that it was a safe place to leave them. And I said physically, I said, I want you to imagine yourself going and just taking those emotions, those feelings back.
Mm-hmm.
Something that she's going to have to work through, and I've actually referred her now to a counsellor. And I just want to say that on the show, Tony, we have now got counsellors working with the show as a result of this. As a result, because you know, we
That's
wouldn't
good.
have seen that. I wouldn't have seen it. We none of us saw this coming. I didn't see this coming. So we are putting things in place because we have to. You know,
but for me, it's like you're just connecting the dots. I mean, you know, in life we have to sometimes connect the dots and find ways to allow other parties into our life that allow us to become better people. You know, listen, you know, 6 months ago, you and I weren't talking anything about sitting down and having a radio show, and then it got into media, and you know, now look, you're flying, and you know, it's just dots are being connected slowly. You know, this year has been an amazing year, and we look at the events of this year, and it has again allowed us to connect a lot of dots, because our time in lockdown has allowed us to be able to communicate in ways which we'd never done before. You know, you and I had never had this level of communication because you're based in Luton, I'm based in Surrey, and therefore we didn't get many opportunities to meet and to have conversation, but we've become regular users of different communication platforms, and we're now able to communicate a lot easier and quicker, and we're utilizing these facilities, and these facilities have the ability to allow people who are in situations to find help. You know, it's not unusual now to be able to say, you know what, I need some help. I can look online and find someone to speak to. You know, I can find somebody who can give me some advice. So, you know, I think that, you know, a lot of good has come across as a result of the pandemic, and none more so in the communications field.
Yeah, brilliant, Tony. Can I come in there with regards to what you said, Tony? I think it's brilliant. So you mentioned like a lot of good's been happening, and like I believe, yeah, all of this happens for a reason. So with regards to disconnecting, so you said about connecting, it's been great, but I believe the coronavirus has allowed us to disconnect from things that don't serve us as well. So with regards to your client going through a breakdown, coronavirus has brought up a lot of things in people's lives that needed to be addressed. So maybe this gentleman, her partner, wasn't happy in the relationship, and Corona had caused the breakdown of a relationship, and it needed to happen. So Corona's obviously given it a bit of a push. So again, going down that theme of disconnect. So in my work, I am quite spiritual. So with regards to disconnecting from people, there's sometimes it's something called a soul tie. You're tied to a soul. Okay. Spiritually, mentally, especially in a physical and sexual relationship, your soul can be tied to that person. So what I practice is about cutting cords. So again, on a spiritual level, that is something that your client could possibly do, to cut the cords. So it's about meditation. It's about connect on a spiritual level, to disconnect her from her partner. I think that is something that she should definitely look in. And as you said, it's about playing with all the different things that we have out there and seeing what works. But I really believe the coronavirus has come at everything's meant to happen at the right time, and it's what's meant to happen. So unfortunately, there has been an end of relationship, but it could have been a year later. It could have been a year later. Your client could have been even more invested. So again, with regards to healing, gratitude is a massive way of healing as well. Being grateful for the breakdown of a relationship. It's painful. Rejection it can cause physical pain. It is painful, but it's a lesson that your client has to go through, and be grateful that nothing else has happened. She's got health. She's got a health, a family. She's got people around her. She's got you, Yvonne. She's got Tony, people to support her, and to support her through this time. But it will make.
We're all there. We're all part of the show. Do you know what I mean? If this is a thing, the show is a thing that we do. I mean, yes, the founding, the concept is me, but at the end of the day, we're all on there and we're all talking our truth. And that's the beauty of the show, is that we are all talking our truth and we are laying it bare, because we all want to grow. We all want to move forward. We want to be in partnerships, relationships. And in order for us to do that, we have to look internally. We have to sort ourselves out. And I think is what's happening on the show, because the first show to this show is so different. It's grown so quickly in such a short space of time. But I want to go to some of the comments, because Parita is saying she's agreeing with you. Healing meditation will be helpful. And she's saying to like change the color of the room and the way it feels, the way in which it may feel. And changing the environment is another key thing of change. Sometimes you can't move home, but when you've had that person with you all the time and everything that you look at reminds you of that person, that's going to be a trigger point. So yeah, changing rooms, changing the way the room looks, changing the sense of the candles that you burn in your house or whatever it is, just creating that change would really, really help. Parita's also saying she agrees with Tony about communication, and she also said, I went to a counsellor, someone who doesn't know you, but important that you connect with the counsellor and look in the mirror every day. And say you are important, you matter. It's extremely powerful. You have to believe it and love yourself. And that's
can I just come in on that one, because I think Parita's make a very good point there, is about the connection with the counsellor as well, because again, that's a very, very big issue there. You know, there are people who are attuned to you, and there are people who are completely, you know, not in the know in terms of understanding you as a person and your culture. So not everybody who is a counsellor is going to be your cup of tea. Not everyone who is a counsellor is going to be able to understand you fully. So there are different levels, and you sometimes have to move around to find the right person. You know, sometimes you find someone, you think that they're, you know, much like a relationship, I guess, you know, you know, you might be looking for a new barber, or you might be looking for a new hairdresser. You know, just because you can do hair does not necessarily mean you're the right person for me. You know, chemistry is very important. So, you know, just be aware that, you know, when looking, be open-minded, be prepared to experience, you know, very high emotions, because you're going to be letting a lot of yourself out to try and get something back which is going to be beneficial to you. But you might have to go through that a couple of times before you find the right balance.
Absolutely, I agree, totally agree. I mean, I've had counselling before, and the last time I had, not the last time, the time before, when my son passed away, I had counselling, and the counsellor, I just couldn't connect with her at all. She just stared. I felt like I was something that she'd never seen before. She just kept staring. Her eyes were piercing, and she didn't blink. And it was the weirdest experience I've ever had in meeting a person. It was awful. And I just had to say, I can't connect with this woman. And it just wasn't working for me. And so, you know, we went to another two. And after the second, after her, then that counsellor was actually right. So what you're saying is perfectly true. And don't be afraid to say it's not working. Don't be afraid to say it's not working. If it's not working, just say it's not working. Can you assign someone else to me? We've got Shell on here. She said, I hit rock bottom because I didn't trust no one. And she still doesn't. She suffered for 6 years in and out of hospital, but smile on from the crowd. But facing the voices when I was alone was another story. You see, he who feels it, or she who feels it, knows it. And this is true. And this is why you need to get the right help. And this is why the After Dark show is putting counsellors in place, because, you know, we're having a show, we're having a conversation, talking our truth, but it is triggering and has triggered some people because they're in pain. Karen Eastman says, getting a vomit journal. I like that. A vomit journal. If you can't talk, write down the things that are pissing you off daily. Yes, absolutely. Get it out of this place. Get it out of your head. Get it into a place that you can control, which is on a piece of paper, because you can write it on paper, you can rip it up, you can burn it, you can do what you like with it, but you're taking back control of that situation. Just want to go through some of the comments because we have quite a lot. Right, so I realised that we say a lot of things, you know, and the things are true. We do say, oh, you know, it's going to make you stronger. But to the person that's in that situation, that's not helpful. It's not helpful because they don't feel stronger at the moment. It's like when someone dies and you say it's well, it is well. What does that mean? What does that mean? So I think we have to be more, what's the word I'm looking for? Empathetic, is that even a word?
Yeah.
Yeah, to people's feelings and their emotions, even though we don't feel the same or we're able to manage our feelings, we have to be more empathetic to others, and how they're feeling and how they're coping. So one of
it's an important word you mentioned, because there's a massive difference between empathy and sympathy.
Yeah.
And empathy is walking in somebody's feelings and understanding from a perspective of knowledge, whereas sympathy is just feeling sorry for somebody. And that empathy, when somebody else has been through that, makes such a big difference in so many ways. When you see a mentor or a counselor and they've been through that experience, or that makes you feel so much more relaxed in being able to get connected with that person.
Absolutely. Right. Another thing that I want to throw up in the mix is comparison. And this is something that when people are rejected, they do a lot. They start to compare themselves to whoever. If the partner was friends with another person, another woman, how they responded to that person, or it might have been how they responded to their last girlfriend from conversations that you've had together. Oh, me and my ex-girlfriend did this. Oh, me and my ex-girlfriend, or me and my ex-partner did this. He used to do this for me, he used to do that for me. Then when it's split up, now you start questioning, well, she said, the partner did this, the partner did that, did I do that? And then you start comparing yourself to something else. Now, what I know for sure is comparison is the thief of all joy. I know that for sure. But it is something that happens to us as human beings. And I think we have to relinquish that practice of comparing ourselves. Or is there another way that we can overcome that thought process, guys, of comparing? Because it happens to the best of us, I think, sometimes. What do you reckon?
So with the question, so comparing when you've had a breakup, you mean?
Yeah,
Right.
Will compare themselves to the last partner, or if there's friends, like sometimes you've got a friend and you and your friend get on with the partner, and your partner likes your friend. It's like, yeah, everybody gets on, and then everything's done. But then you start thinking, well, when my partner was here, he used to talk to her a certain way. He used to say things, and even when she wasn't here, he used to say things or do things or help her, blah blah blah. And then you start comparing yourself to that person. And it's a thing that happens.
And it's a dangerous road. It's a dangerous place to be. Unfortunately, it's just human nature. I can put it no other way, but it is human nature to talk about and compare A to B. There's the bees to the birds and the cows to the sheep. You will always find at some point in time with people, you will start discussing patterns of behavior. This person did that. This person did that. I've never come across a person who came out of a relationship that didn't at some point explain the behavior of their former partner. And to actually, in a way, that kind of works for them as a type of healing. But it is also, as I said, a dangerous road to go down, because you have to say, okay, I can say it to this person and I can go this far as to say what was happening. But there are times when you go too far, and there are times when you say it to the wrong person. So it's something that we know happens. I just think, with addressing a person who's having issues, separating from an old relationship, that it's made clear to them that, talking about that relationship is healthy, but who you say it to and how much of that you explain is very important, because you can end up having a detrimental effect on yourself by reliving, you know, some of the horror stories that may have happened in the relationship. You know, it's important that you get them out early, and then you try to move on.
Thank you for that. Tisha, do you want to come in?
Yeah, well, how I've taken the question is, comparing because you feel unworthy of that person. You don't feel, I can see that you're not in your power. If you really believe in yourself and how the relationship was or how you were together, then you wouldn't need to necessarily compare yourself to his ex-partner or the breakdown of the previous relationship. You couldn't compare because you understand. I would think that you would understand that you are one person and his ex is someone else. So yeah, I understand. Yeah, that's how I've taken the question, that by comparing, you can't possibly compare with, or be similar to anyone, because you've been brought up differently. So, and as well with age, and think people change. So your partner might have been like that to his previous partner, but with you, it might be 10 years ago, he's a new person. He's a different person with different ideas of life and ideas of what a relationship is. So comparing is dangerous because there's no real guide really to. There's no real guide. There's
and again, something that we spoke about in our panel a couple of weeks back was about love languages. You know, when you talk to people, they understand different things. So, you know, you could be missing the touch of being able to walk through the park hand in hand and have a kiss and a cuddle, because you're a very physical person and you're missing that. And you're talking to somebody and you're like, you know, I really just miss just having a, you know, little snooze in his arms on the sofa, or walking in the park hand in hand. And this person has just got no attraction in terms of understanding that particular aspect, the quality of physical touch, and therefore they're kind of writing it off. You know, it's like, well, it's not that important, surely. You know, more important that, you know, you're getting, you know, this and that, but really that to you is the most fundamental thing that you're missing.
Yeah,
you see what I'm saying? So there's lots of reasons that you might start comparing somebody or missing a person's dynamic, and explaining it to somebody and be thinking, well, why don't you and I have that, or why can't you understand why that is important to me? And it's purely because that dynamic is potentially something that the person you're speaking with doesn't have that kind of empathy for, because they don't understand that particular love language or that particular like that you have.
Yeah, it's very true. Yeah, like going forward, rather than looking back at the relationship, when you're moving forward to a new one, again, as you said, Tony, love languages is very important, and we've all got different ways. But also, like in my work, I like to look at zodiac signs. I like to look at numerology. We all made very differently. So, like I've been doing some research on Taurus, and they're very much about touch and smell and things like that. And that might be your partner probably was the opposite to that, and this new partner really loves that. Do you know what I mean? They like comfort and things like that. So you can't start anything or end relationship comparing. It just doesn't. Yeah, it's easy to do. It's very easy. Yeah, we all do it as we know, but it doesn't change anything. And it does. Yeah,
it's not a foundation to build any relationship on.
Yeah.
Comparison, like I said, is the thief of all joy. And, you know, we have to get to a place, I believe we have to get to a place where there is an acceptance of who we are, and there's an acceptance of the person. And one of the things that I talk about a lot is acceptance. When you start to accept things as the way that they are, then it changes your control factor in that situation. You can then look, as I said again before, from that situation from a different perspective. We do have a few comments, so we're going to come to the end because I don't want to be on here for too long. But there was a great comment. Right, Karen Eastman said, comparison big time. It's so damaging. Comparison fuels pride and feeds the ego, a destroyer of the self. Boom. That is a drop the mic one. Absolutely. Absolutely. And there was another one, okay, that she said, we have to learn how to sit in the pain. It's not everyone you can talk to about the breakup. Some friends feed your anger and feed your sorrow. That is so true. So true. And I thank Karen for that, because sitting in the pain, it sounds harsh, but actually it's one of the most valuable things that you can do, because pain, and I think I've said this before, pay attention inward now. Sit in it. Sit in yourself, sit in your soul, sit in your spirit, and start to think about the things and how the situation actually really happened. Because in most case scenarios, and guys, don't shoot me for saying this, but most case scenarios, when relationships go wrong, they have been going wrong for a long period of time. You just haven't been paying attention. And and people might say, no, it was good, it was this, it was that. But when you reflect back and you speak to the other person that was in it, they are going to say something, the one that's gone, they're going to say something that wasn't feeding them. And let me just say this is a powerful thing that I learned the other day. I heard it was a man called T.D. Jakes. He's a bishop. I heard him say this, and it has blown me away since I've heard it. He said the problem is, and he wasn't talking about depression or anything like that. He was just talking about relationships. And he said the problem that we have is that some of us are gallon-sized people. We're just gallon-sized. So everything that we do is big. Everything that we think about is big. Everything that we want to achieve is big to ourselves. But what happens is that we try to fit into pint-sized people, right? That means that their thought processes are not where our thought processes are. And it doesn't mean that they're better or less. It doesn't mean that. It just means that where they are in their mind is in a different place. And so what happens is that we try to fit ourselves in pint-sized people, and the pint-sized people are giving everything that they can, but they never give to the capacity that you need, because you are a gallon-sized person. And so no matter what they do, no matter how they try, you are going to be feeling unfulfilled. Not that you're looking for someone to fulfill you, but we know how relationships work. We know we want to feel good, we want to do. And so when I kind of started to think about that, it made me realize that this is why sometimes relationships do fizzle out. Sometimes this is reasons why relationships, people will just walk away and not say anything. It's because they don't have the capacity to do that. You can't take anything away or blame or hate or anything like that. You just have to accept the person for who they are. And who they are is a person that couldn't give that thing that you needed. They couldn't give you that thing that said, I'm gonna speak to you about it, and I'm gonna tell you the reasons why. The person just didn't have the capacity to do that. And it's once we start to accept this, then we can start to feel free, feel freer in who we are, and accept ourselves as who we are. I'm going to hand over to you guys, because we are coming up to the end. We've been here like an hour, and so I wanna just come into you guys, just for you to guys give your little ending or whatever, because I think we've touched a few things. I think we've given a few tactics. So yeah, come on in, and I'll read a few more.
I'll go next if that's all right, Tony. So as I said at the top of the show, I believe the opposite of rejection is connection. So going forward, I want to give that your person that reached out to you, connect with yourself, first of all. Connect with yourself, going spiritual here. Connect with your intuition, because you would have known. If you were connected, you would have known something was off. So going forward into another relationship, you'll be able to connect and just see if things are off. So that's, yeah, I would say that is my thing. And gratitude. Be grateful that he was in your life for 3.5 years, and all the lessons and the love that you did have. And yeah, be thankful for the lessons, and just think, yeah, you can bring that to a relationship when you're good and ready. So gratitude that you've got your health, you've got your family, and yeah, you've got you're healthy. So opposite of rejection is connecting. So connect to yourself, and yeah, you'll heal and get over this. Tony, over to you.
Okay, well, as I'm a mentor, I'm just going to really sing the praises of mentoring. You know, we need more mentors in the world, is the honest truth. And I feel that, you know, that applies in life as well as business, as well as school, as well as, you know, every facet of our lifestyle. So go find a mentor, you know, go find somebody who you know has been through similar experiences, someone who's a little bit worldly, ideally, you know, someone who's had marriage experience, has had, you know, experience of different types of scenarios, and utilize their knowledge base and allow them to help you navigate that tough world, which is love, which is relationships. You know, there are lots of people around. There are, you know, if you come on the group forum that we do every Tuesday, you know, we hear it every week, that huge wide variety of experiences lived and learned, and we can take from those experiences and find our own journeys via that. So yeah, find a mentor.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you so much. We have a few more comments in the thread. We've got Tony Tullock, who says, this is what I found out. Never talk about past heartbreak and relationships at the beginning of a new friendship to form a bond. When the both get to understand each other's ways, the true talk will come forward. He also said, where are you, Tony? Oh, he just said true talk. But yeah, that is so true. That's a thing that we do in relationship. We talk about the past. Don't bring your past. Find the future, your present. Find your present first, and in amongst that, when you get to the point, then you can have the conversation. Don't bring it in. Sheena's saying it's important to keep the fires burning in your relationship, communicate effectively, given an opportunity, whether that's in banter or serious talk. What I know for sure is this. Okay, I see that, Tony. What I know for sure is this, is that you are able to cope. You are not alone. For those of you who are listening, who are struggling in your relationships, who are struggling with feelings of rejection, whatever the reason may be, I want you to know that you are not alone. There are organizations out there that will support you. There are coaches, mentors, and counselors out there that will support you. Know that you are not alone. Know that in every season something happens, and there is a reason that you are in this season, and that it was meant to come to an end for you to find something better. There is better on the way. And when it comes to man, let me just say this, when it comes to man, they may not come all at once. They may not come when you want them, but they all come at once like buses. And then you have a choice. You have the choice of them, and you can choose which one you want to go in, whatever direction you want to go in. So don't worry yourself. Don't worry yourself. And I hope that that last statement brought a smile to your face and broke the pattern of your distress that you're feeling today. My name is Yvonne Michelle. We've had Tisha Braid, we've had Tony Cox here. We've just been talking openly to you. We'll be back here on Tuesday, 10 p.m. on Facebook for After Dark. Do join us for another conversation. And I do believe our conversation is going to be about jealousy.
Ooh.
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 Coming, coming. We have to go. We've got things to do. But you know what? Have a good evening. Stay blessed. Stay safe. We'll see you soon. Ciao.
Bye.
Bye.
Ciao. Thanks, guys. Oops.